we're actually going. We're at 38 minutes. Can you believe that? This one's flown.
We were wondering if, and we still have a lot to talk
about. I'm not
about.
even done. Honestly.
Me neither. Honestly, and we have to keep going now because, for one, since we're on Hopper and 11 and how we're all on board with how awesome Hopper is, I thought their relationship building throughout the season 2 and how Hopper. They left it at season 1, leaving that food out in the snow for 11 because, the last thing we see of 11 in season 1 is her defeating the Demogorgon and getting sucked into the Upside Down.
I didn't even know if that is what happened.
We just knew she was gone.
Now, once they announced that there was going to be a season 2, I was like, okay, she's in the Upside. Obviously, that's where she's at, But at the time, I wasn't sure because we didn't know. I think a week later they announced they were going to do a season 2, but they wanted to wait and get the numbers back. But anyway, you're right, exactly.
And just how Hopper, took 11 in, even adopted her, man.
I want to tell you something, Brett. Hopper's daughter, who, she's dead.
She passed away.
Unless they pull some weird plot twist where Hawkins' lab took her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What about that?
Wow.
We presume she's dead.
Yes, she passed away.
To Hopper, she's dead, and
from an illness. Yes.
It looked like cancer because So when you first see her, she's got her hair in pigtails with blue headbands, and then the next time you see her, she's bald in the hospital, chemotherapy. Hopper's got that blue hairband around his wrist, and then if you go back and watch the first episode of the show, when you first see him, he wakes up out of a drunken stir and reaches for the
blue beret headband
to make sure it's still there. And then at the end of and then there's scenes in season 2 where him and 11 are arguing, and he's fiddling with the bracelet while they're fighting.
Right.
And then I don't know. And then at the end of the finale of season 2,
when 11 goes to the snowball,
she's got it around her.
And that made me tear up. Honestly,
that's amazing.
On my second watch through, when I realized, because I watched the whole thing with my fiance, on my second watch through after I knew what it was, it hit me right in my soul.
It's I've certainly seen the past few years a big phenomenon with the whole father figure taking on an unlikely daughter figure. The Last of Us is that.
Yeah.
Did you see Logan?
No, unfortunately not.
Logan.
Was it good? Was it good?
Besides Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's the best superhero movie I've ever seen. Wow. You don't have to know or care anything about superheroes to enjoy it. It's not at all. When I say besides Spider-Man: Homecoming, this is coming from someone who I generally, don't really care about superhero stuff.
Don't get hopped up for
I'm a big super nerd, but I'm more about the sci-fi than I am the superhero stuff. I'm a casual. I've seen most of the superhero movies. I do enjoy them, but and I did grow up with the Spider-Man stuff. But I'm not diehard. Spider-Man: Homecoming was amazing. I saw it 2 or 3 times. I think 3 times.
Wow.
It's really, really good. And Logan I've seen 3 times. Once in theaters, but I saw it with my dad, and then I watched it again with a family friend. But anyway, it's great. And it's similar where it's
unlikely father.
It's the same thing with Hopper and 11, but I don't know. It's a genre that's BioShock Infinite was like that too. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that.
We could do a whole BioShock episode.
I remember how horrible of a time you had beating that game the first time around because everyone.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about that later.
That'll be the next one eventually. But anyway,
that'll be a good one for our miscellaneous casts.
Yeah. Season 2. There was so much good about it. I don't want to, as much as we talk about episode 7. That's the only problem.
As much as we found wrong with 7, 20-fold it returns. The season itself returns good things.
It's just, I thought, can I skip this and not notice or have it bother me? And the only thing you need to learn about it is that there's a scene where 11 is getting the generic, the Dragon Ball Z, you must use your anger to unlock your full potential. That whole joke. And she gets that talk that's obviously flashback later.
Or she moves the train car.
She moves the train car, and then later, and then also you might not understand where she was or why she looks the way she does, because she comes back with a different, admittedly horrible look,
Yeah.
and you know it.
And speaking of, we haven't even touched the final moment closing of the season where, well, not final moment, that would be at the dance, but where 11 just goes total BA and closes that portal door with the Shadow Man in there. Oh my gosh.
I was so worried for Hopper's life during all that, dude, because I was like, he's gonna die for her or something. I was like,
I know, and I couldn't lose Hopper's. Go
but
ahead.
here's the thing, as much as I was worried about it, I didn't want to let myself get too comfortable, but I know how stories are written. I'm not some genius. I'm not like a critic. I don't know, but I was thinking, how can 11's obviously going to try and they want to have this as a happy ending of some sort. They've let her and Mike be miserable the whole season, wanting to see each other. This is going to end with them seeing each other and it being relatively a normal ending. It just seemed common sense to me. So I was thinking that I figured that Hop would kind of take her on. That would be a thing. So I didn't think he would die, but I didn't want to just say, "Oh, he's not going to die," because the second I get comfortable,
He's
they
gone.
would kill him.
Because
So.
that's what happened to me with Bob Newby.
Poor Bob, man.
Wasn't he nice? Did you like Bob Newby?
He was such a sweetheart, such a sweet guy.
And the person that played it, Sean Astin, Goonies,
Dude,
perfect
yeah.
person to pick for that.
Lord of the Rings too.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
He was such a great, sweet character. He was,
At first, he comes off as, who's this guy? I thought, Joyce and Hop would get together season 2, but you love...
dude, Bob's great. He was
love Bob Newby.
Poor Joyce. The strongest woman in America, I swear.
Oh,
the
my
stuff she's
goodness.
been through, I felt, dude, her acting in season 2, she was great, but in season 1, oh my, dude, her, Hop, and 11 were my 3 favorites. And here's the thing, too. I'm not a big movie guy. I don't typically go to the movies. I'm not a movie connoisseur. So I don't really know Winona Ryder too well. I knew she was a famous actress, but I was blown away by her performance in season 1. Season 2, she was good, but she just wasn't so much at the focal point of it as she was in season 1. She did great, though. But
Still good nonetheless, yes.
And
But Bob Newby, superhero.
I kept making jokes about him the whole time I was watching it with Keyshawn. Because Keyshawn is a black person, so I was making a lot of white people jokes about Bob. I was like, Bob's the kind of guy to see grass mowing as an extreme sport. Or
yeah.
Bob's the kind of guy to put a banana on a piece of white white bread and say, "Ooh, that's spicy." Just,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
These are very bad jokes
These
right
are
now,
generic, but
I was coming up with some fire
Some
jokes.
zingers.
Well, dude, I had him rolling. I forget. I can't remember them all, but that's just the kind of guy Bob was, and I did love him, and I wasn't too surprised.
And here's
by
the
it.
thing, though, when they zoomed in on him leaving his gun in the basement,
You knew.
I knew, and I immediately cussed under my breath. I was so mad. I was like, how can they do this? But then he gets all the way through, and you're like, well, maybe there's hope. And then when the Demodog...
Well, I thought when the door slammed, I thought maybe he had made it, but then it shows a split second of silence. It's like kind of goes to slow motion, and it pans to him, and it's just him standing there, and it's quiet. Like everything cuts out before the Demodog jumps him. As soon as it got a little quiet, I was like, I knew. I was waiting for it to come off screen. Like in that split second, I kind of knew, and it was a shame, man. I mean, honestly though, as much as I loved him, I would rather lose him than
of course.
And that's saying something.
Because
That's how devastated I'll be if someone else dies. Because
Bob Newby, I don't have complaints.
No.
I like Bob Newby.
I'll tell you this, man. When they announced season 2, I was honestly really distraught because I was like, I cannot see one of these characters die. I cannot deal with it, dude. And now they've announced there's going to be 3 and a 4th, a 3rd and a 4th. Dude, I was like...
They better just start bringing new characters in and killing them.
Please, dude, because I wish I had Keyshawn in here to attest to my how badly I was reacting. He couldn't handle it. Matt had already finished it. He went and asked Matt, "Does Hopper die?" Because he loves Hop so much. He's like, I can't
Lose Hop.
he's like, he was gonna watch it. And here's the thing: I didn't know he knew before, until after we finished it. He didn't let it on. He didn't make it obvious with his face. If something tense was going on, he pretended the whole time.
Right.
Now he didn't know if anyone else lived or died, but when it came to Hop, he couldn't bear to lose him.
Like, I can lose everyone but Hop. That's how he was.
I was like that with Hop, but they kept putting Steve in really awful situations, and I was afraid he was going to die
Me
for
too.
one of the kids or
And,
something.
Dude,
for Dustin.
when Hopper gets lost in the catacombs upside down and the vines go over him, I panicked.
Dude, I was like, no.
I almost said, if they do this, I'm not watching the rest of these episodes.
The moment that really almost did it for me, and when I really thought it was, I was telling Keyshawn, I can't look. I had my face in a pillow because I couldn't look. Was when the boys, the kids, and Steve were down in the roots,
Upside down catacomb
and
things.
he was lifting them out, and I thought he was going to be the last one down in there, and the dogs were going to jump him.
My booty hole clenched.
What, Donnie?
I said my booty hole clenched.
As did ours.
Donnie said his booty hole clenched from that happening.
With fear. Just. And this is a man whose booty hole does not clench easy.
I couldn't look. I didn't look, but luckily. And then the worst, dude, was when Steve went out with the baseball bat to fight that Demodog, and there was more.
When they realized, when they told him, Steve,
bail,
there's more than one Demodog, I was like, no. Yeah.
Dude,
But luckily he got back in the bus. Thank you, Duffer Brothers, for the mild cardiac episodes you give me.
it would be a good meme if someone had like a life-threatening experience from like watching Steve almost die all the time. And God, I just love it. I just, I would hate to lose. The thing is so many of these characters are so set in stone. The only way any of them could die is in a sacrificial way.
It has to be in a good manner.
The outrage would be so huge because of how there's a huge community and fandom. I don't really get involved in it because as much as I love certain things, I can't get too wrapped up in the online communities for them. I have a Steven Universe tattoo.
Right.
I'm wearing a Steven Universe t-shirt and a jacket.
Your Instagram name is Jonah's Universe.
And here's the thing. All this outfit is unintentional. I have 3 of this shirt. Just because, I bought one, then my grandma got one, and then I think I got another one for Christmas or something. Because they didn't know I had it. It's just, the odds that I wear this shirt are kind of common, and this is just my go-to jacket. So, I just, But here's the thing. I'm not caught up on the show, and I don't interact with, the community online at all. Same goes with Stranger Things. Same with Supernatural. I try to stay out of it because it's like, I don't want to just completely burn myself out on it. And also, I have usually unpopular opinions about things. Like, I love a lot of things in Supernatural that a lot of your diehard fans don't. Same goes with Star Wars. I'll save that for a talk with Jared or Matt because I know you're not the biggest fan, which is fine. But
I do know that your favorite movie is one of the most disliked.
And I'll leave it at that.
But
we'll talk about that in another one.
And I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I know all the Star Wars fans who heard that were like, "Yeah, I know what episode."
You know what he's talking about. But hey, if it makes you feel any better, episode 2 is my least favorite because of the cringy Anakin Padme scenes. I'll stop talking about. I'll do a whole talk about Star Wars. I'll probably do several with other guests.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, but no, it's fine. We're talking about Stranger Things right now. So. I freaked out right at the finale at the dance. You know why? The police started playing Every Breath You Take.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know that. Well, I thought about you when they started playing that song.
Matt told me that because he was the first in the house to finish it. He finished it the day, I think. I think he stayed up all night and finished it. I think. Maybe the next day. But he was really worried that I would hear because, so for those listening, the police, again, I'll probably do a whole talk about them. They were my favorite band growing up, and that was the first. I was 4 years old when I heard that song. Driving past a Kmart, my dad played it for me, and I was upset. I became obsessed, and now it's definitely not my favorite song by them, and so I've heard it a trillion times.
But you know,
still,
you know, they played that song and the Upside Down showed again, and it was like every breath you take, and I was like, oh,
I'll be watching.
We
you.
got unfinished business with
Yeah.
the Upside Down.
And think about this too. Everything in Stranger Things is intentional. Like that
Oh,
lyric was intentionally placed there. I think my mom called this. She thinks it was intentionally placed at the beginning. Them fighting at that arcade game on that game where it's like, get the sword. We got to cut the head off the dragon.
Oh wow.
She thinks that like there's I don't know if you could physically cut a head off that thing with a sword, but she thinks that that had a meaning. That's probably there for a reason. And she's probably right in some degree. I'm not sure to what degree, but probably has something to do. I just everything is so intentional with that show. Everything's there for a reason, which is why I hate episode 7 because it doesn't matter. None of it mattered. I could probably. I'm so anal about this stuff that I could probably just download the season and cut that episode up quite a bit and shorten it for my own personal viewing. The only person I know who liked it was Emily. She liked it. I think I told you about that. I don't know. I haven't talked to her about it, but Matt told me that she had said something about it. And hey, more power to you if you're hearing this, Emily, and more power to the fans of that episode. But
You guys saw something I couldn't.
I just couldn't enjoy it.
Maybe we sound like uncultured swine to you.
Maybe.
But unfortunately, Jonah, I have to wrap up our talk.
It's been an hour. I was about to wrap it up.
But let's wrap it up with a little game of speculating some things going forward. What do you think might go forward? What do you think might happen? And by the way, this is all of our just BS speculation.
Yeah, like I said, I only saw one of the trailers leading up to season 2. I try to avoid all that, so none of this is based on it. If any of this sounds like it's from some kind of actual news, if you're listening to this way in the future, like when season 3 is about to come out, I don't know. We don't know anything. I especially don't. So here's the thing. I was pretty right on my guess of what season 2 would be about. However, I thought it would be much more about. I figured half the season would be them trying to get 11 or rescue her. I couldn't believe that the season starts with that just being already done.
They gave up.
They gave up, and but by the time the season starts, she was already out.
Right.
She had already, and she was in the Upside Down for about 5 seconds, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That kind of disappointed me a bit. I wish there had kind of been something there, but I guess they just wanted to get to it. Again, the show suffers for its brevity. It has to just get to the point very quick. There can't be much filler, which is why I hated episode 7. They can't really be much filler. They don't really have time for it. So I get that they kind of, but it just seemed weird that with how big and dramatic her disappearing was in season 1, with her killing the Demogorgon and it making her disappear, that seemed such like a big deal, and like I felt like half the season would be about that. So it wasn't. So I was kind of wrong, but other than that, I kind of figured it would deal with Will's. You see him spit out the slug. That would obviously be a thing. And it was, of course. I mean, anyone could have seen that coming. And then I figured there would be some. He also had that flashback.
We didn't even talk about Dart this whole time.
No, we haven't. Well, we'll probably have to do
Yeah.
another.
I keep thinking of things where I'm just like, man, we really needed to talk about that.
Yeah, I know. But when it comes to this one, I really don't know. I really couldn't tell you what I think it will be about. And that's uncharacteristic of me, to be honest with you. I typically find it very easy to see where things are going to go. But
I have one theory that I hope I'm dead wrong on. And it's, I have a fear that Eleven's powers are hurting her. I have a fear that they're going to find out that Eleven's powers are like detrimental to her health, and because obviously the nosebleeds and all this other thing, and she's tired and weary and drained after she uses her powers for an extended period of time. But I love 11 so much. I always, by the way, people, I'm someone who thinks the worst right off the bat. I just always assume it. But anyways, I pray that that's not the case.
I think what is likely is that 8 or a different number will cause a big problem. Maybe even because remember 11 opened the gate. What if another number
Does
opens
something
another one?
equally tragic in another town, yeah.
And like they open that person opens a gate, or that person comes back to Hawkins' lab.
Or one of those people turn out to use their powers for bad or something,
Yeah, and that was one thing I knew they would have to talk about eventually is other numbers. And I really hate that they only mentioned one, and it was a really cringy, stupid haircut. Haircut was so dumb. I swear. I don't know. And even the little fortress they were living in that episode was so
cliche.
How is there not just some dude skateboarding in the back?
Skateboarding and some guy playing jacks with himself, like smoking.
He has some guys playing dice in the back.
Yeah, like
for
just
money.
playing that 3-card Monty Shell game, scamming one of his own friends. Like, where's the ball?
Man, that was so bad.
Another theory I have, and I will admit that this was pointed out to me from an online source, but after the rewatch, it holds water.
Okay.
Because if you look at the Upside Down, you can still see remnants of the town, or how it's supposed to be. All of the vehicles are vehicles from like the 1950s. They turn into vehicles that are like 30 years older than what they should be. And they're not the same cars from when it was like in our dimension. Someone thinks that there's a time paradox, a parallel of like time and space going into the Upside Down. Like it somehow represents like an element of the past, or there's some time does not exist in the Upside Down like it does out here.
Yeah, and one thing I thought too, and this is something I had thought about in the first season, is obviously I can assume that universe wasn't always like that.
Yes.
That evil, because
it shows signs of life before that happened.
That pool was there, that Barb was in. The house was there. A
lot of the cars remain like we were just talking about.
And Hawkins was there. I don't think Hawkins' lab was there. Was it there in the Upside Down? I can't remember.
They never show Hawkins' lab in the Upside Down, not the outside of it or anything, because that's kind of like its entrance point.
Maybe it's like it's like maybe it wasn't built in the 50s.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it was yet to be constructed.
Well, I can't remember. Was it? Because I remember that's when they were talking about when they conducted the experiments. Was that?
That was in the 60s.
So
when they did that on, we didn't even get to touch on 11 and her mom.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Oh my god, we will. I guess we will.
We will have a Stranger
I'll need
Things.
I'll listen back to this, and then I'll write down some talking points, and we'll stay on topic. When it comes to the next season, I'm thinking we'll see the Doctor, and I'm guessing the Doctor might have something to do with another number of the like number 4. I don't know, something.
Whatever.
We'll maybe see something with that, and. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Season 7 is terrible.
Episode 7. Sorry.
Season. What if season? No, season 7 is. I'm calling it right now. It's gonna be terrible.
Season 7 let down.
Yeah, let down hype.
Not even gonna watch it. Yeah. It's 5 years away.
God. Anyway.
But wrapping up.
We both got to get to bed. My throat is killing me.
My throat is too.
Talking.
And of course I'm battling sinuses.
And we've been talking for almost 2 hours, because this is an hour 3 now. So it's a good. It'll be about an hour solid when I cut out the
all the
walking
little goofy things.
Anyway,
but
thanks for listening. If you heard this,
thanks for listening. Season 2 Stranger Things was great, and like Jonah said, we're probably going to have to talk again on this.
Yeah, so we probably won't do it on the next one. Try to spread it out.
But anyways, this episode was brought to you by Spishak Razors for that close shave that goes down to your jawline.
You know what it do. You know how it be in these streets.
Spishak Razors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Signing off.